Today we're going to be doing a realistic rebuild of my favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. A team that I think is going to be a very popular rebuild target in Madden 24 this year because of the fact that they have Anthony Richardson. Basically, the ultimate create a Madden player. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the arm strength. We all know him at this point. Let's get into it. Now, since the game is so new, let me just show you guys a couple things here, settings you might want to change when doing your rebuild. They've added a lot of customization. We don't mess with the skill level because we sim the games. That's not going to matter a whole lot. We are going to turn, well, since it's a realistic rebuild, you know what? We'll leave the injuries on. I'm going to go ahead and do that at my own risk. That is going to make things a little bit more interesting. Can't be realistic if you don't have injuries, so we're going to stick with those. I usually do turn them off. It'll be my first time having them on. Hopefully they don't get too glitchy, although we know the Colts have some injury history. Andrew Luck, Shaq Leonard, it has not been good for them. You can actually update now the trade difficulty. There are some free agent sliders you can play around with. I'm not going to change those. The one setting that I would recommend changing, if I can find it, is right here, reorder depth chart. They've just added this into the game. If you guys have seen any of my previous rebuilds, you'll notice, or just in general if you're playing the game, what'll happen is you'll draft a rookie, let's say 78 overall wide receiver. Let's say you've got just Jamison Crowder. I'm just going to throw a random wide receiver name out there. Or Corey Davis, someone who I would think is like 80 overall. You can put your rookie ahead of them. It doesn't matter. The CPU is going to still play your old guy who just isn't very good anymore. Your rookie's not going to get any reps. So reorder depth chart. You change this to manual and you're all set. So now let's see, brand new era of Indianapolis Colts football. What Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson, and the Colts can do in year one. Now, first things first, we got to take a look at the roster we're starting out with. Anthony Richardson going to come into the league 70 overall, hidden development. Hopefully, we can make that work. Hopefully, we can turn him into what I believe his potential is. And, to be completely honest with you guys, the physical tools, all that he brings to the table, his ceiling is top 2, top 3. It genuinely is. Will he reach that ceiling? I don't know. Obviously, he's got the floor. You can't deny that. He's not the perfect prospect by any means, but still, a lot going in Anthony Richardson's favor. What he's shown so far, his work ethic, I absolutely think we're going to see much closer to his ceiling than we will his floor. I will say that much. Johnathon Taylor is going to be very interesting for us. So, of course, we all know the drama between Taylor and the Colts. If we want to keep this a realistic rebuild, what sucks is the fact that he will sign for like $8 or $9 million a year. I've done these in the past. He's happy with that. I know he's not taking that in real life. I would have to imagine he's looking for, just off the top of my head, like in the 13 to 16 million a year range. So it's going to be up to us to decide whether we want to pay him and appease that request, or if we want to let him walk, if we want to try trading him. But again, we know we're going to get some really good trade offers for him, but we have to keep it realistic. I don't think anyone's going to give us a first-round pick. I mean, I could be wrong in saying that, but in real life, running backs just are not going to fetch you that anymore. It's not like the days in 2013 when the Colts traded a first-round pick for, coincidentally, another running back, Trent Richardson. Johnathon Taylor, of course, much better, but probably not going to get a first for him. I could see a second. I could maybe see a second from a contending team like the Bills or the Dolphins, maybe. But then you look at the receivers. Michael Pittman Jr. has just simply never really had a quarterback. Phillip Rivers was pretty good for his rookie season, but aside from that, it's been Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. So very excited to see what he can do. I think that he can be a great X wide receiver, similar to like your T. Higgins, your Mike Evans, a bigger guy. I think that he's going to be really good this year. I hope, at least. Isaiah McKenzie, they currently have slotted as the number 2. I'm going to go ahead and put our guy Alec Pierce up here. And also, Josh Downs has looked incredible in training camp. The guy separates. He's got amazing hands. This guy's T.Y. Hilton 2.0. He's just buried on the depth chart right now. On the depth chart. He is on the smaller size. I want to say he's like 5'9". Let me see here. He's 5'10", which honestly, like that's not tiny, right? Like you can make it work at 5'10". But yeah, definitely still on the shorter side. I want to say T.Y. was 5'10" as well. T.Y. was not super big. Offensive line, Bernard Ryman, the rookie from last year, I want to say was like a third-round pick, if I recall correctly, actually started to play pretty well as the year progressed. They did give him star dev because of it. Hopefully he can continue to ascend past his 74. Quentin Nelson, who definitely did not play like a 92 superstar last year, although the vibes around the team were just terrible. Kind of a lost season for everyone. Hopefully he can bounce back because obviously he's shown that he can be the best guard in the league. He's shown it, just not in the last year, maybe 2 years at this point. Ryan Kelly seems to be on the decline, but maybe we get another good year or two out of him. Danny Pinter sucks, and Braden Smith, again, similar lumping with Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly, good starters where they're just looking to bounce back. At the tight end position, they've got Jelani Woods as our starting fullback. We're going to want to change that. I don't think Kylan Granson is a fullback either, so Jelani Woods is definitely going to be our top guy, and I'll go ahead and make sure that we get Kylan Granson second. Mo Alley Cox is washed. We're not going to get any value for him. He's just kind of sitting there at that point. Whenever his contract expires, he can kind of see the door. Defensively, the front seven is okay, I guess. Shaq Leonard, I think they did a little bit dirty by taking him all the way down to normal dev. When he is healthy, he is a massive difference maker. He just forces turnovers like no other. The interceptions, the forced fumbles. I mean, it might have been you could have said it was a fluke for his first season or two, but the guy just does it every single year. Similar to Charles Tillman with that peanut punch, just consistently, you know this guy is going to make plays for you and turn the ball over. He's got his flaws. He's not perfect in coverage, for example. He's not the quickest in the world, but he is a difference maker. He deserves at the least star development. Not going to mess with it, though. That's fine. Then you've got EJ Speed, Zaire Franklin also. I'm biased, but I think a little bit underrated. They both played very well last year. Zaire Franklin especially had a great season. Defensive line, they bring in Samson Ebukam from the 49ers, hopefully to help out the pass rush. Take a little bit of the pressure off of Kwity Paye, who has been fine to this point, but nothing to write home about. Then you have one of the best DT duos in the league in DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. Both of them, I think, right around fair ratings. Buckner, I think, should be a little bit higher, but I think Grover Stewart has very much earned his 85. In the secondary, definitely hurt by the Isaiah Rodgers gambling situation. He is no longer on the team, so a massive hole there. Kenny Moore, Julius Brents, not sure who that is, and then Darius Rush, the fifth-round rookie, I believe. Brents was a second-round pick, high hopes for him, hidden dev. But yeah, the secondary might be rough year one. You've got two younger guys at safety, Julian Blackman and Nick Cross. Nick Cross is very young. I think he's just like 21 years old coming into his second year. Did not play super well as a rookie, but as a 20-year-old in the NFL, hopefully the sky's the limit. Hopefully he can get a face scan that's not as creepy as the one we just saw. And of course, it's always worth it to look at the free agents. We know some of these guys have signed in real life. Dalvin Cook is a Jet, of course. Ezekiel Elliott is a Patriot. Here is where, in a normal rebuild, I could come in, sign a couple guys, and really throw the realism out the window from the get-go. I'm not going to do that. However, there is one guy who is still out here inexplicably. I don't know why he is not signed at this point, who a lot of Colts fans really want. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. It is going to be Dalton Reisner. I think he makes way too much sense for the Colts, especially with the hole that they have at right guard. You got to keep your rookie quarterback upright. We've got the money. We're going to bring in Dalton Reisner on a one-year deal. I think that's a no-brainer. I think the Colts should do that in real life. They probably won't, but they should, and that's what we do. One thing I like to do at the beginning of a new Madden is to always just kind of look around the trade block, maybe see if there are any guys out there who are younger, have some potential, especially at positions where we might have a need. So running back with Taylor potentially out the door, the Niners are willing to give up Elijah Mitchell. They probably want a little bit too much. Texans, that's not realistic. They just signed Devin Singletary. I don't think the Falcons would get rid of Tyler Algier. I mean, maybe they would, but I doubt it. I think they have plans to use him and Bijan Robinson, complementary to each other. A couple interesting names out here, though, but ultimately I don't think we'll do anything. I don't really want to bring in any wide receivers. I like our young guys. Tight end, no. I want to see what Jelani Woods has. We could use a linebacker. Well, no, because I do like EJ Speed and Zaire Franklin. Let's look at the corners, though. Let's look at the corners and see. So, yeah, I'm just not really loving what I'm seeing here. I don't think it's anything to where... I didn't know Greedy Williams was an Eagle. He just quietly left the Browns, I guess. Completely forgot about him. Safeties, there's not really anyone out here. Isaiah Simmons would be kind of intriguing, but again, not super realistic. I think the Colts are going to wait and see what they have in Nick Cross, so we're not going to make any deals at that point. So now we're going to go ahead and get to the midseason point. Now, I don't think year one is going to be super pretty. We will look at some of our expiring contracts, Jonathan Taylor's in particular, because at the midseason point, you can still make deals. The trade line has not cut you off at that point. Pittman is someone who's going to be coming due as well. So we are going to have some big contract decisions to make. Selfishly, I'm hoping that we're not very good. But if we're not very good, it's going to mean that probably Richardson's not developing either. So it is a trade-off. In a perfect world, we would suck and Richardson would be great. But I don't know how realistic that is. So here we're going to find out. I'm going to say 2-5 is my guess. Let's see where we're at. 2-5. Okay. Just like that. Let's look at the schedule here. For two reasons. Just to see if we're keeping competitive in these games that we're losing. Are they close losses? Are they blowouts? Also, just as a subtle nod to the fact that we don't sim games here. So close loss. We did put up some points on the Texans. Close loss. Decent loss to a not talented Rams team. Close loss. Close win against the Jags. That's something. And another close loss against the Browns. So, yeah, we're just a few pieces away. We know it's not the perfect roster. It's a roster with potential. You got a lot of youth, but ultimately just not the greatest. So let's look at the stats and the awards here. So Taylor is still playing at this point, which I'm fine with. Offense right around the middle of the league. Richardson does have 13 passing touchdowns, and defense is about close to last. So Taylor's actually not really playing amazing by any means. Like, he's not the top guy in the league. So let's look and see who's ready to negotiate. So it's a 2-5 team. I'd hate to take Taylor away from Richardson. And yeah, he has no interest in us whatsoever. What's scary is neither does Pittman. Neither does Kenny Moore. Oh man, guys. These are some very tough decisions. Let's see what we could get from Taylor or for Taylor and see if it's possible to keep this thing realistic. Okay, we're going to upgrade him, so he's up to an 89 overall. There's nothing we can do about that. You got to upgrade him. It won't let you go anywhere otherwise. Let's do trade away. I'm going to be intrigued to see what kind of offers we can get for Jonathan Taylor. So Mike Hilton, I don't want Mike Hilton, man. Come on. Greg Newsome is intriguing. Marquis, the player-for-player trades, I just struggle to get behind. Jermaine Johnson, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who they just signed. J.C. Horn, I don't think the Panthers would trade him away. Odell, who was just signed. Odell would be so mad at that. George Pickens, no way they trade him. We're not trading him to a division rival. Some teams are willing to do a player plus a second. So, who's really good right now? Is there a team where, they're making a playoff push and they could use a running back? Let's see some teams that I can think of off the top of my head. It'll tell us, this will give us an idea of where they're projected to pick. So the Dolphins, I guess they suck right now. They're projected to pick 6 overall. That is surprising to me. What about the Bills? Because the Bills could use a running back. They're projected 23rd, so it looks like they're expected to make the playoffs. They don't have the money for him, though. Let's see. Chargers wouldn't need him. What about the Chiefs? People have talked about the Chiefs 9th overall. What is going on around the league here? Who else we got? I'm trying to think. The 49ers are always willing to make a deal. They're 16th. Let's just go through here and see. We're not going to trade him in the division. The Packers are really good, but they've got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Panthers don't have a first. Patriots suck. The Rams, they did beat us, and they're slated to pick 31st. All they've got is Cam Akers. I don't think they'd trade for Taylor. Ooh, okay, the Ravens are really good right now. They've got money, and all they've got is J.K. Dobbins. I think this would be one of those things where the Ravens would be willing to make that push, and they would maybe give us a 32nd overall pick, a late first. Let's see if they take it. Yeah, they would. I think that's realistic enough, guys. A team that's slated to pick 32nd. They know at the midseason point they're contenders. This is their move to push themselves over the top. Playoffs are coming. It's looking like the Chiefs and the Bills are kind of struggling. The Dolphins too. So this is them saying, hey, we are the team to beat. You add Jonathan Taylor to that offense. I wish him the best. I hope he does well with them. We'll certainly check in on him at the end. So now we've got a chance to see. So Pittman is going to be important to us. I think Pittman is one of those players you prioritize A player-friendly deal. This is actually still a little bit cheap. I mean, I could take him up to like 15 million, I think. And he'd still be making around 20 by the end of it. Let's see if he'll take it. All right, he will. I think that's close to fair market value in real life. Kenny Moore does just want a 1-year deal. I mean, we'll come back to him. Grover Stewart, I would like to bring back a 2-year deal. Wow, that is expensive, though. For Grover Stewart, that's a lot. I mean, I know what I said about him. I love them as a player, but I don't know. I think we let him walk at the end of the season. I'm kind of leaning that way. I mean, 29 years old, I don't know. Julian Blackmon, we could get him back for cheap. I mean, that's like nothing. I think a 2-year deal is fair. Maybe to be our starter, maybe we bench him a year or two down the road. Just so we don't have to immediately worry about the position. I'll take Julian Blackmon back. Who else we got? Dalton Reisner. I think he was just kind of a 1-year solution for us. Isaiah McKenzie. I don't see him in our plans long term. Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew's vibes. I mean, if we could get him as just like one of the best backups in the league, I'll throw him a player-friendly deal. All right, he's not interested. We'll get a rookie or someone. We're happy that we got him for the year. Tyquan Lewis is no good. There's Kwity Paye. Okay, so he's going to be a 5th-year option decision, so that will be something we handle later on. Rigoberto Sanchez, we could possibly just take care of our punter position, see if a player-friendly deal will do it. That works. We get Rigoberto Sanchez. I'm not going to look into his numbers too deeply. He is a punter at the end of the day. So that leaves Kenny Moore, Grover Stewart. Those are kind of our main 2 decisions. I mean, Kenny Moore, you got to think free agency is not going to have a lot out there in year 1. We could maybe run it back with him 1 season, like 1 year, 12 million. Ugh, all right, well, he's going to play hardball with us, so maybe we don't bring him back. But then we hope that Julius Brents develops. Maybe Isaiah Rodgers learns his lesson and we bring him back next year. We're getting trade offers for Dalton Reisner. We're not going to take any of those. Let's get to the playoffs, and honestly, with the way things are, I'm happy with how things have gone so far. Richardson has played well. He's up there in terms of yards, touchdowns, all of that. Hopefully he stays that way, and hopefully the losses keep piling up. We've had a lot of close ones. I mean, we've been in all of them with the exception of the Rams. So I'm going to see how we did. I want to see how the Ravens did as well. So we end up going 8-9. That's kind of annoying. We're going to get like around a mid-first round pick. I mean, that's kind of good, though. It shows that Richardson progressed as the season went on. So the Ravens do end up getting the 1 seed. Taylor wasn't doing anything incredible, so I would like to see if he really turned it on once he got with them. Let's look at our stats, though. Then we'll look at Taylor's out of curiosity. So 8-9, I'd be happy with that this year. Offense does regress, though. 25th in the league. I don't like that. Defense stays around the same. We did trade away Johnathon Taylor, so that's a big part of it. Sorry, Anthony. He does finish with a passer rating of about 98, 31 touchdowns to 14 picks. Yeah, I mean, clearly we got our guy there. He did well. He should hopefully progress decently. I don't think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year or anything. We are going to need to get him a running back, though. No 1,000-yard receivers. Alec Pierce does score 7 times. Jelani Woods, 670-4. That's fine. The tight ends take a little bit. Shaq Leonard, 124 tackles. Let's look at the sacks. No pass rush. I mean, Kwity Paye, I don't think we're going to pick up Kwity Paye's option, to be completely honest with you. I think if he has a year like this, there's no way Chris Ballard's doing that. Leonard, there he is with those turnovers. Julius Brents does get 3 interceptions, okay. And 2 for Nick Cross. We wanted to see some out of him. Let's see if the game knows that Shaq forces fumbles. They don't. They don't account for that. That's okay. Really quick, I also want to see Jonathan Taylor's numbers, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens. Let's take a look here. So he ends up with 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. I mean, nothing crazy, but on the 1 seed, hopefully he does well. Hopefully he helps lead his team to a Super Bowl. We'll see. And I know we checked in on the Ravens. Let's just quickly view the rest of the league, the playoff picture. So any surprises this year? Panthers getting in as division champs. There's no way the Rams are making it, let alone as the 2 seed. That is just, it's not happening. I would bet, if I'm going to place a bet on any of these teams on this list not to make the playoffs, it is 150,000% the LA Rams. They are going to be bad this year. And you can quote me on that. I'm telling you, they're not going to be good. I'm sorry if you're a Rams fan, but it's just the simple truth. No major surprises outside of that, though. The Packers do make it with Jordan Love. Of course, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bills. Steelers making it with Kenny Pickett. Mike Tomlin refuses to have a losing season. Jags are back in with Trevor Lawrence. And it looks like old Rub and Tug had a bounce-back year in Cleveland. Then you've got on the NFC side, teams we didn't mention. The Cowboys, we'll see. Everyone's favorite team to hate, right? 49ers, of course, playoff team. Vikings, I could see them as the 4 seed. I mean, they're still talented. Kirk Cousins is good. And of course, Eagles, only surprise is seeing them as the 5 seed. I think that they still win the division, but we'll find out. Could definitely see them and the Cowboys in it this year. And in fact, I'd be surprised if they were. So now let's take a look at that playoff picture. I had to put my face somewhere it wouldn't cover anything. In fact, it's covering the Cowboys score a little bit. They lose in the first round, no surprise there. Let's just go left to right. So AFC wildcard, Chiefs, they blow out the Chargers. Brandon Staley's got to be fired after that. Bills, they win a close one against the Steelers. The Jags take care of business against the Browns. Next round, Chiefs go on the road as a 7 seed, and they beat the Ravens in a shootout, 31-28. That would be a classic game right there. And the Bills, similar interesting results. They are going to get the Jags 31-28, so shootout with Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. And of course, Bills-Chiefs, possibly the best, I think the best rivalry in the NFL right now. 7-seed Chiefs are going to knock off the Bills 24-20. We see the Super Bowl, we'll come back to it. Over on the other side, the Packers are going to upset the Rams 24-21. Bryce Young is going to win his first playoff game. And then the Eagles will get the win over the Vikings, not surprising. Packers are going to beat the Cowboys in a close one, tale as old as time. Panthers are going to go on a run. They beat the Eagles in a bit of an upset, I would say. And then they get one over the Packers. So the 2 7 seeds advancing to conference championship games. And a 7 seed ultimately wins the Super Bowl as Mahomes has number 3. So 3 rings now for Mahomes, 28-22 over Bryce Young and the Panthers. And encouraging for us, gives us something to work for to see one of these rookie quarterbacks going that far. Hopefully we can see some similar success in year 2. Here is your season recap, though. Cowboys are going to take home a lot of these yearly awards. MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. Wow. But there it is. Chiefs Super Bowl champs. Nick Bolton wins MVP. Probably had a pick 6 or something. Fumble recovery for a score. One of those things. Bijan is your Offensive Rookie of the Year. Von Miller wins Defensive Player of the Year at the ripe old age of 52. And Lucas Van Ness is your Defensive Rookie of the Year. So probably played a role in the Packers getting that surprise playoff berth. And now we're on to the offseason. And before we get there, it is time to upgrade some of these players. So Richardson is going to have 6 points to work with here. So the CPU, I believe, would just put everything towards field general, which is fine. Improviser, though, it's going to help his deep ball game. This is tough. I think I want to upgrade. We'll do 3. I'll tell you what. We'll get field general up. We'll do 4 to that, and then we'll see where we want to go. But that's good news. Richardson is going to grow in the league here. Let's get that up to a 70. He's up to a 74 now, still with half his points left to go. Getting those throw accuracy numbers up. This is going to help him a lot heading into year 2. Love to see. 75 is good. Now let's see. Improviser, do we want to... Yeah, you know what? Let's go improviser a little bit. Because that's his lowest right now. This way, everything is a 70. That's going to give him a big boost in a lot of categories. A couple of his throw accuracies. And now, once it's all said and done, he's up to a 76, which I think is fair. So, a couple throwing stats there that are going to help. Normal development, though? Are you serious? We're going to have to do something about that. I'm not going to change it. He's just going to have to play better. That sucks. Julius Brents is going to have some points to spend here. And man-to-man is what is going to be his best fit. But we'll throw a couple. I'll tell you what. We'll do another to man-to-man. Then we will upgrade his zone a little bit as well. That gets him up to a 76. Okay, we'll take that. 3 to his awareness. That's good. He does get to keep his star dev. Thank God for that. Everyone else, I think I'm just going to go ahead. Sam Ellinger, I guess, must have played well in practice. I don't know. Everyone else, we're just going to auto-upgrade. I know a couple guys had 3 points to spend, but we did see some growth, so that's encouraging, I guess, right? Up to an 80 overall. Let's take a look. Let's get through free agency first, or through our re-signed players, none of whom we're going to re-sign. Let's check on them one more time, see if anything's changed. So this is going to be our last chance. We're going to lose a couple longtime players, potentially, Kenny Moore, and here is Kwity Paye. So what is Kwity Paye's option? Will it tell me? I mean, we're going to get him for... I don't think I am. Because we get him for one more year regardless. So this is going to be... He's playing the last year of his contract. I don't think he deserves it. I genuinely don't. He just doesn't strike me as we're going to pick up that option. Grover Stewart now has no interest. That's fine. We don't really have any either. Kenny Moore seems to have turned things up just a little bit. And I think for a one-year deal, we're not going to spend $60 million out here. Let's just go ahead. We'll go 13.5. All right. So we get Kenny Moore for one more season. I think that's realistic. I think that's normal. Grover's going to go. I mean, we could franchise tag him. Be kind of not... I don't think that'd be super good for morale. I think we let Grover Stewart walk. He's been a great player for us. I'm not going to mess around with the franchise tag. Reisner can go. No one else really has any interest or is really worth bringing back. I mean, Tyquan Lewis, we could maybe do like just a little cheapy one-year deal. If he'll take that, that's fine. He can be a good backup for us. He's been here for a while. Hasn't really done much, and he can continue to not really do much. Everyone else can walk. Definitely you, Danny Pinter. You're terrible. You can go. So now let's see who's out here in free agency. This is usually where we would blow a bag, but realistic rebuild, we're going to be as realistic as possible, although probably a bit more aggressive than Chris Ballard likes to be. So if there's anyone good out here, we'll definitely consider them. You know what, first, before we even look at the free agents, let's see what our needs are. There's no point in seeing what's out there if we don't know what we're looking for, right? So let's reorder the depth chart here. It's probably going to mess around with our tight ends. It won't. Jelani Woods, unfortunately, is not growing. Ryman grows marginally. What do we need? Do we want to go receiver this early? Do we give Alec Pierce and Josh Downs another chance? If there's like an alpha out there, I'd maybe consider it. We did just pay Pittman, though. We got to get a running back. I mean, we'll probably end up drafting one. I like Evan Hall real life, but he's like a 7th-round pick. You got to do better than that. We definitely need, of course, right guard. The Band-Aid is gone. Reisner is no longer in the building. Defensively... we need a new DT. Could probably use some linebackers. And at this point, I'd be willing to look into safety. I'd be willing to look into corner because Kenny Moore's a one-year thing. We don't really have much behind him. I don't think Darius Rush is going to do much for us in Madden. And still, I think we could bring someone in without it being stupid. So let's see who's out there. So always interesting to see some of the names. Right away, 2 things stick out to me. Old guys and lack of interest. That's not good for a first year. But let's see realistically who this team could bring in. Amari Cooper, there's no way. Mike Williams, no way. Christian Wilkins, potentially. Why does he not like us? Scheme fit. I think he'd fit our scheme. I don't know. And Super Bowl chase. Bro, we're on the up and up. You could be part of this. Come on. Keenan Allen, no way. Calvin Ridley, no way. I can't believe Calvin Ridley is 29. Chidobe Awuzie, probably not. Bobby Wagner's old as dirt. Grover Stewart, Gabe Davis. Adrian Amos does have some interest. I just don't really see the connection. Odell, you could... I don't know. I don't know if Odell's realistic. Michael Pierce, I could kind of see, actually. So let's see if we can maybe do something here with Michael Pierce. What does he want? Just like a one-year deal? I'd do a one-year deal for Michael Pierce. Why not? That feels like a Colts move. Let's see what his interest level is. We did bump things up for him a little bit. Yeah, we're way top of his list. I mean, that's maybe even a little bit of an overpay, but it's a one-year deal. I don't think McCole Hardman would be worth anything for us. Khalil Mack, no. Kirk Cousins is out there. John Johnson is marginal compared to what we have in... what's-his-face, Julian Blackmon. Frankie Louvu is intriguing. I maybe would... he doesn't have any offers either. I mean, what kind of linebacker is he? Like, why does he not fit our scheme? And he wants a franchise quarterback. We do have a franchise quarterback. Grow up. A 3-year deal. Seems a little rich. I'm going to lowball him. I'm going to throw a 2-year deal at Frankie Louvu. See if anyone else is willing to bite on him. If not, it's okay. And yeah, this definitely feels like a very Colts offseason. Let's just go in order of our needs now, because we know nothing really good is out there. We got to get a running back. Cordell Patterson is there. That doesn't really do much for me. A.J. Dillon could be cool as like a power back. I kind of like the idea of A.J. Dillon. How expensive would he be? A 2-year deal? I'd do a 2-year deal for A.J. Dillon. We'll probably still draft someone, but I think he works well as a complementary piece, so that could work for us. Do we want to try and maybe bring in a fullback? I mean, Ethan Carter is there. I don't know. C.J. Ham. Maybe we go... Just how often do you use a fullback, though? Like, do we want to spend money on that? Not really. Let's look at the guards. I mean, ultimately, we could move a guy around. Kevin Dotson, I think, could be good. I think Kevin Dotson makes sense for us. He could be solid. That's not too expensive, right? Nothing, like, super crazy, but we're just kind of filling some of those holes. Now we've got really one more spot we could go. I think we did, yeah, we sent one out to Michael Pierce. We addressed one of our linebacker spots. Let's look at the corners. Sean Murphy Bunting is kind of interesting. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I could maybe see Sean Murphy Bunting working out. How expensive would he be? That's really not that bad. I don't think the Colts would bring him in, though, when they've got Darius Rush. I think they would wait and see on him. So let's see. Who are we targeting? So Michael Pierce, Frankie Louvu, A.J. Dillon, Kevin Dotson. I think that's a pretty realistic offseason. Like, none of these guys are super crazy, but they all kind of make sense, I feel like. The one I'm worried about is Louvu. I'd really like to bring him in. I don't want competition for him, so maybe I want to do a 2-year deal, but maybe we bump things up slightly to where we're maybe overpaying. I don't think that would change much for him, though, unfortunately. Yeah, he's still right around where he is. So let's see if these guys will bite. Yeah, Louvu we're probably not going to get. That's fine. We'll withdraw that. So that's going to leave us with Michael Pierce, A.J. Dillon, Kevin Dotson. It's not exciting, but it is what it is. It helps fill some of our holes, and we just got to hope we can draft well. Now, what I will say as we get towards the draft, one more change that I'm making is we're not going to do the downvoted draft class. I would love to try and trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr., but ultimately with these, you know who the good players are, right? Like, it's going to be mainly your first and second round picks. There's no variation. We need a little bit more of a challenge here. We don't just want to see the same faces over and over again, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Caleb Williams has superstar dev. Who would have thought, right? So we're going to get to the draft here. And in the draft, I don't necessarily know what our targets are going to be. We'll look at a couple factors. We'll look again at the roster. I think corner is going to be a big one for us. We're going to be picking probably around like 13 or so, if I had to guess, just off the top of my head. Why are we getting trade offers for a guy we just signed? EA, you got to fix that. Okay, let's look at the roster here. We're also going to look at our contracts because we know Kwity Paye is probably gone after the season. We know Kenny Moore is gone. So let's look at our immediate glaring needs. What do we need right now to fix this squad? So I hate to say it, but like if Alec Pierce isn't really showing anything in his first 2 years, it feels a little early to give up on him. But if there's an elite prospect there, you can't deny that. With our late first, I could certainly see us going running back. We got to get Richardson some more weapons. If there's an elite receiver, I'd certainly think about it. Corner is a sneaky need for us because we could use a third guy, also the Kenny Moore thing. We need edge, at least someone to learn behind Kwity for a year while we let Kwity go in his merry way. Definitely need linebackers. I don't know how big of a difference linebackers are going to make, but we really need them. And I think the safeties we give one more year. So let's get to the draft and see what we can find. Definitely going to be interested to see who's picking first. It's going to be the Giants. Okay. And we're picking 17th, so a little bit later than I had guessed. That's not great, but should hopefully still be some good guys there. They're going to take David Bradshaw, quarterback out of UNC. So you got Drake May in real life. That's a quarterback that could go high. Commanders are going to go with Riley Phelps. I see they're still giving guys the George Washington haircut. Cardinals at 3. They will take a wide receiver, Antoine Scott. Patriots at 4. They're going to go with a linebacker, Austin Warner out of Alabama. Austin Warner just sounds like a Patriots name. Falcons, they're picking at 5. I guess Desmond Ridder gets another year. Daquan Mayo, unless they went out and got Kirk. I guess that's a possibility. Bucks at 6. They're going to take a tackle, so I guess they're committed to Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. Lord help them. Lions will take a left tackle, Alex Pettis. Titans are going to go with Orlando Bullocks. Left end out of Oklahoma, beefing up that defense. Cardinals have another first. They're going to take Pat Johnson. So, first round cornerback by the Cardinals named Pat. I think that'll work out pretty well for them again, hopefully. Bears at 10 are going to go with Darius Ridley. That makes sense for them. Help out that pass rush. Raiders are going to go with, I can't read that. I see it's Durant. Looks like a left end. It's the Raiders. I don't really care that much. Saints are going to go with a linebacker. They haven't been super great with their first round picks lately. It's probably going to continue. Dolphins are going to go with Brian Anthony, defensive end. We're almost up here. I hate seeing some of these ends fall off the board. Steven Stamper out of Georgia to the Bengals. I guess maybe they know T. Higgins' days are numbered with them. Can't afford to keep him and Jamar. Raphael Ryans, DT to the Seahawks. I love that name. We could use a DT as well. We know we only have Michael Pierce for a year. And Terrell Pryor? We have a Terrell Pryor that went into the Broncos. He plays cornerback. Okay, so Terrell Pryor is back in the league. Who remembers him? Quarterback out of Ohio State for the Raiders. Played a little receiver for, I think, the Browns. And I want to say he was with Washington for a while. Okay, so who's here? A lot of quarterbacks. We don't need any of these guys, man. Maybe we trade back. There's a safety. There's a corner. Beat a D. Ugh. These are bad. That looks like a solid left tackle. A lot of C's across the board for that DT. I wish I would have done. This center does look solid, though, out of Texas. Howie Logan. I'll come back to him. We don't have that big of a need for him right this second. There's another good looking. What about Julius Gibson? Julius Gibson looks solid at receiver. He's a physical, though. I kind of want some more speed. Right tackle, we don't really need. That looks like a solid guard, Isaiah Byers. We could use a guard. We did just bring somebody in, though, so I don't think that's super realistic. Jose Ortiz looks like a solid tight end prospect. They just don't really develop the way I'd like them to. Let's go based on our needs. Let's look at the running backs. Doesn't look like a great running back class, unfortunately. Maybe A.J. Dillon gets the majority of the work this year. T.J. Ogletree looks like he has potential, but not this early. Receivers, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. Julius Gibson does look solid, though. We'll come back to him. Let's look offensive line. I think we're probably okay. Let's look at some of the edge rushers here. I don't like the D finesse moves. And he's a run stopper. Yuck. Okay. I mean, this guy does have A power moves, A tackling, C block shed, D finesse moves. If he's a power rusher, Marcus Atkins could be a target later on. Let's see. I'm not really noticing anything from the right ends. Be nice if you could just find like some nice steals in here. Unfortunately, I don't think that we will. DT, let's look at the DTs. Not really seeing a whole lot. Javonte Browning could be decent. Linebackers, I don't really know that I want to take a linebacker this early. Quincy Smith does look kind of solid, though. He's projected rounds 3 to 4, so I certainly think we could come back to him. Not really loving anyone in the middle. And then on the right side, Andrew Crossan looks like he could be okay. I do kind of like Dudley Thorne, maybe. Let's look at the corners. Not really loving any of these guys. So yeah, that is tough. So who were we thinking? There was a guy that I definitely had my eye on. I believe it was a center. I think it was Howie Logan, projected rounds 1 to 2. But then you do have Keith Winkler, who looks good. I don't know, though. Let's compare the two here. I'll tell you what I think we'll do. Let's look at them. Let's compare them. I want to look at their physicals. 35 reps on the bench. 5.0240. Howie Logan is interesting. He's 23, so he's a tiny bit older than I'd like. Let's look at Keith Winkler. Let's look at Keith. He's just 21. And he put up just 28 reps on the bench. He's pretty agile, though. He's got some good numbers. I think we go with the better overall prospect. But then again, Keith Winkler, he could learn behind Ryan Kelly for a year. This is tough. Howie Logan is a riser. I think I'm going to go with Howie Logan as a first-round pick. I don't love it, though. It's just part of me feels like I would regret that. So let's do this. Let's look at our trade offers. Because if we don't take... Center's not even really a super big need for us right this second. I just realized we forgot to look at the expiring contracts. That's okay. This is a tough call, guys. Let me know in the comments who you would go with at this point. I'm kind of thinking the receiver might be interesting. What draft is this, 2024? If we get like a 2025 first, I'd like that. Try and keep it somewhat close. I do kind of like this offer from the Eagles where they would give us pick 26. That'd move us back about 9-10 spots. And a second and a third in next year's draft. That's pretty good. Or the Vikings. They're kind of throwing us a bunch of garbage to go along with that. I don't think we would trade in division. I do kind of like this offer from the Eagles. I mean, to move up 10 spots, I could see the Eagles doing this and being aggressive if they've got a guy that they really like. I'm not going to go trade crazy or anything. And if you guys don't like it, I apologize. But I am going to go ahead, I think, and take this. I think it makes sense for us. There's no one that I'm like incredibly sold on. Let's see who they go with, and then we'll skip to our selection. Let's see who they go with. So the Eagles are going to trade up for a left tackle. I don't know. I mean, you got Jordan Mailata. I guess the rich get richer, whatever. Okay, so we're going to be picking 26. If that center's still there, I think I'd be a lot happier with him at that point. Or we could maybe go with that receiver out of Ohio State. I wouldn't mind either of those options. Let's see here. Let's check for the center. He's gone, but Keith Winkler's there. So we got to keep an eye out for Keith Winkler, who I think, man, that's tough though. Keith Winkler now we might have to reach on with our second because I don't know that he'd be there, or we could trade up for him early in the third. I don't know. That's a tough call. And Julius Gibson is still here from Ohio State. So now let's look into him. This is right around where he's projected. I hope he's like decently fast. A 4.44. Okay. Okay, Julius, I see you. And 21 reps on the bench. Julius Gibson's a stud, man. I like him. I think he's got to have hidden dev. He does. 91 speed. He'll wear 13. He's got to wear it well. 6'2", 220 with 91 speed. I like Julius Gibson, man. Ooh, I've got high hopes for him. I really like this pick. I'm excited now. I'm excited. I can't believe we weren't even really looking at him. Had I seen his stats, I might have considered him a moment ago, and now we get an extra second and an extra third out of it. Not only that, we got to wait one selection before we're up here again. Now, unfortunately, we can't trade this one away. We can't be too stupid with it, as much as I'd like to be. So let's see who we've got now on the board. Let's see, who did we look at before? So TJ Ogletree, it would definitely be a reach to take him here, but if he's an athlete, I'll consider it. He's 21 out of Clemson, a 4.42, 20 reps on the bench. I just feel like that 20-yard shuttle might not work in his favor. I'm not blown away by him. I think we're okay. I don't think we go with that. Let's look at the defensive line again. So there's Gordon Chambers. There's Marcus Atkins, who we did talk about. He's projected rounds 2 to 3, so it'd be a little bit of a reach. Let's look at his numbers. 22 out of Florida State. 4.75, 40, 35 reps on the bench. I kind of like Marcus Atkins here. I don't know. So A, power moves, A, tackle, C, block shed. He's a power rusher. I'm not super worried about those finesse moves. A, power moves is good. I'm going to take that. He does also come with hidden dev. So 81 strength, 86 excel. Marcus Atkins could be something for us. I kind of like that. All right, solid. I think we're 2 for 2 so far, guys. I'm pretty impressed. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, maybe we look and see about that center here in just a moment. So round 2, pick 17. Let's see who we got. And again, it might be someone who's a little bit early for, but it might be something to where we don't really want to take the risk. Because Ryan Kelly's not getting any younger. Let's look at him here. We know he's going to be a need for us. And he was pretty solid. It would be a reach. 4.9, 640, 28 reps. Just really good athlete, though. I mean, he's just quick. What's his size? 300 pounds, 6'4". I like Keith Winkler. I'm willing to reach on him. I'm willing to reach on Keith Winkler. He's going to come with hidden dev. He looks small. He looks like me. Like, you put me in an NFL jersey, that man has no business wearing the number 71. Like, flip those 2 digits. There's no way he's 300 pounds, bro. Look at him. He's Tiny Tim. His shoulder pads are up way too high. There's no way that's him, bro. He's got to be looking different. Like, 300 pounds is a straight up fabrication. But whatever. Hidden dev. We'll take it. So now we're on to the third. Let's see who we can get here. Maybe we look at a running back. Although I don't know what kind of talent we're really going to have available to us. We could just use a change of pace there from A.J. Dillon because we don't really have anything right now. Trevor Peel's still there. Manny Woods. He's got, little Michigan guy. A, ball carrier vision. A to C, break tackle. B, carrying. C to F, catching. So as a runner, he's pretty solid. I just spit all over my screen. He's 23. He's not the youngest. He runs a 4.42, 28 reps on the bench. We'll come back to him. I'm not opposed to the idea of Manny Woods. Let's just see, though, what other kind of needs do we think we might have. So DT was one. We'll look at DT. We'll look at corner. Eddie Lowry, I'm just seeing F power moves. Like, yeah, I know you're a speed rusher, but I don't know. Javonte Browning, I think we did look at him a little bit ago. He's a speed rusher. He has C power moves, A to C tackling, B to D block shed. And then you have Jalen Alice. So Javonte Browning does have some upside. If he's an athlete, let's just see about it. 4.88, 33 reps. Yeah, man, give me Javonte Browning. Why not? He's got normal dev. I don't know if he'll ever be anything for us, but we could certainly use the help along the defensive line. It gives us a little bit of reassurance that Michael Pierce can walk after a year. And hopefully Manny is still there at the running back position because I did kind of like him, and I think as a fourth-round pick, that would be like perfect for us. It said he was a day 3 pick, so like part of me has faith that he will be, but you never know. He's gone. Dang it. But then you got Peter Hunt, who is a power back, and he's ABB. It is another power back, though. Then you have Ashton McClain, A to C, A, B to D. I don't really care about the catching a whole lot. A, ball carrier vision, A, break tackle, or B, break tackle. A, carrying. Let's look at Ashton McClain out of the U. 22 years old. If he's fast, 4.52, 30 reps on the bench. Ooh, okay. What's his size? He's going to come in 233 pounds. That's a big boy. Let's look and see Peter Hunt. We'll do a little comparison here. So he's going to come in 231 pounds, 22 years old. I think that is a year younger out of Princeton. Let's look at the speed. 4.41. Bro. I mean, you're a power back and you run a 4.41. Yeah, man. Give me Peter Hunt. He's not the most agile in the world. It's a tough decision. I'm going to take Peter Hunt and hope we're right. Hidden dev. Okay. Okay, 231 pounds at 91 speed. Princeton, too. So you got an Ivy League boy now. Smart guy. I like it. Now, here's where we're basically just looking for, like, special teamers at this point. So round 5, pick 17. We could look into doing another trade. I don't think we will. But let's see some of our late-round talent we've got available to us. I'm really liking the draft class so far, though. I hope you guys are. One position we have not looked at is corner. We definitely need some bodies there. Is there anyone where I'm not seeing a bunch of D's and F's? I'm willing to reach at this point. I don't really care where you're projected. If you got something solid to show me, I'm willing to hear you out on it. It's just I'm not really seeing that, unfortunately. I mean, Trevor Peel was projected around 2 to 3. This is a pick that the media would love. 22 years old. There's a reason he's falling this far. It's a 4.59 40. Yeah, that sucks. We'll take a gamble on him here in the 5th. He's going to have normal dev, 88 speed. Yikes. South Carolina, though, worked out for Shaq Leonard. I think that's where he went. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And yeah, we're down to our last 2 picks. So we got ourselves a body in the cornerback room. Unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot left there. I've kind of lost track of what our needs are, but I think that we have addressed them fairly well. We could maybe use a backup quarterback, although Ellinger is still on the roster. Let's just see if anyone has slipped here. So, Jerry Kidd out of Purdue, the local guy, 21 years old. D-zone coverage, though. I mean, he can learn, right? Right? He's a hard hitter. He's got... No, he sucks. I can't justify it. He sucks. I thought about it, but at the end of the day, no, it's not going to work. Is there anyone where I'm not seeing just crap? I'm not really seeing anything right now, to be honest with ya. I wish it would give us a better layout for their athletic traits. Like it would just show us their 40, their bench press. Because, yeah, this is rough. Let's see, what else have we not addressed at this point? We don't really need anyone on the offensive line. D-line, we addressed that. We could use a linebacker. Brandon Roach out of Baylor. D block shed, D pursuit. Yeah, you're a bum. BJ Davis out of Ohio State. A to C zone coverage. He's got some instincts. 23, probably won't ever turn into anything. A 4.77 40. Are you joking me? That's garbage. Yeah, man, I'm just going to take someone. It's just going to be someone's lucky day here in just a moment. I mean, Dorian Dunn out of Navy has at least a wide range. He's not guaranteed to be garbage. He probably is. He's not fast either, but we'll take Dorian Dunn. Out of the Navy, we'll thank him a little bit for his service, and we'll move on that. So he's a 6th-round pick at the end of the day. Probably not going to make the roster, but at least a name we can remember fondly. Dorian Dunn. And I'm about Dorian Dunn with this draft class. Please don't leave the video because of that joke. I know that was terrible. I apologize. Tyson Bell goes to the Dolphins, kind of like that name. Jerry Kidd is still there. You know what? I think Jerry Kidd's family would be very happy with this. He's probably like crying right now, thinking he's never going to make it. And you're never going to make it, but at least you can say you got drafted, Jerry. So like, congratulations to you. He's sad, man. Like, look at him. He would not be making that face if this were the 3rd round where he thought he was going to go. Man, Jerry Kidd is just not having a good day. Boiler down for Jerry. But he can at least hang around training camp, be a little bit of a fan favorite. I would imagine there's a decent overlap of Colts fans and Purdue fans being in the same general area. So let's look at our draft recap. I'm very intrigued to see how some of these guys turned out, and I want to get them on the roster. I'm hoping for high 70s. Okay, so a couple 75s. Julius Gibson, 75. He's going to be our instant wide receiver, too. I love that. Marcus Atkins, I might try and trade Kwity Paye. I don't know if I could get anything for him, but I don't see a world where Marcus Atkins is sitting behind Kwity Paye. Keith Winkler can learn behind Ryan Kelly. I think that'll be good. Hopefully get him to like 75, 76 by his sophomore season. Javonte Browning's a 70. That's fine. Peter Hunt's a 72. Okay. And then you got our late round guys. Trevor Peel, Dorian Dunn, and the lucky Jerry Kidd. So let's see. Okay, so post-draft, here is the roster. I'm going to do something a little controversial, something a little brave. Hunt, I got to remember his first name. I can't just call him Hunt the whole time. Peter Hunt. Peter Hunt, the rookie out of Princeton. He is our starting running back, wearing number 24. He's going to get the nod over A.J. Dillon. Dillon, of course, will still come in. He's going to be our power back, but I really like Peter Hunt. Then you have Gibson here. So we got Peter Hunt. We've got Julius Gibson is going to be our immediate starting wide receiver too, wearing number 9. I think that's a good number for him. Looks good on him. So 2 rookies starting on the offense. Anthony Richardson, definitely grateful for that. Winkler is not that far behind Ryan Kelly, so he'll get to learn for a year. I would imagine by next year, Kelly will regress, Winkler will progress, and he will be the new starter. Then on the defensive line, Atkins is currently on the bench behind Kwity Paye. I think what I'm going to do is have him start over Samson Ebukam because Kwity Paye is still a little bit better than Ebukam, so maybe these two together. Maybe it lights a fire under Kwity Paye. Maybe we get something out of him this year. You never know. He just usually doesn't. And then you do have, I want to say this is Julian Browning. Javonte Browning, forgive me. So Javonte Browning is going to be our DT3. He can learn for a year behind Michael Pierce, hopefully progress. I think we have done a pretty good job here, honestly. Obviously, still some holes on the roster. It's a realistic rebuild. Like, you know, any rebuild I've done in the past, I've always said it's not the thing for realism. We'd have everything filled by now. Like, this roster would be like an 85, 86 year 2. It would be ridiculous, but I think what we've done is realistic. I think this team is set up to take a leap into year 2. Maybe not win they'll probably win around the same number of games as they did in year 1. I would imagine anywhere between like 7, I could see anywhere between 6 would be my absolute low point. Like 6 is like my worst case scenario, and I could see like 10 best case scenario. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Part 2 will be out hopefully within the next few days or so. Thank you so much if you've watched to this point. Hopefully it hasn't taken up too much of your time because I know we're probably around the hour point by now or past it, maybe. But thank you again. I'll see you guys next time.